Hi guys, this is Chef Dangoor with TigerChef, and today we're going to be making these delicious goat cheese triangles with filo dough. So first thing you're going to need to saute some mushrooms, some kale, and this is the onion. So what you're going to need for the onion, you're going to need a very sharp knife. All right, and you're going to break this down in the middle. Take off the peels. And for about this batch, which you're gonna make about 40 of them, you're only gonna need about half an onion. So I got about 1.5 cups of kale. I got about, I wanna say 8 ounces of mushrooms. And then for the goat cheese, you're gonna need about 5 or 6 ounces of it. If you like more goat cheese, use more. If you like less, less. And you're gonna need about 8 sheets of filo dough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down this and make little lines. About 1/4 inch thick. Slice this in half. Having a sharp knife is very important. You don't want to cry, and usually when your knife's dull, it's going to push out all the juice. It's going to make you cry. So here we go. It keeps it in nice and uniformed. So you have all these uniform cuts, and then I like to slice this up sideways at the very end, just so I don't waste anything. I'm not a waster. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna saute the mushrooms. Once they get a little caramelized, we're gonna add the onions, and at the very end, we're gonna add the kale. We add the kale at the end because it wilts very fast, and so we don't wanna be cooking it the whole time. So let's get started on that. So these guys have caramelized a little bit. Now listen, if you're doing a big batch and you don't have room to put in the onions right after, just take these out, do the onions next, and you can mix it all up at the end. Beautiful. We got this nice little caramelized. We've been cooking for about like 10 minutes now. I did it at like a medium heat so it doesn't burn it. We want to cook through all the onions. And now we're going to just add our kale in there. All right, and then this is going to wilt. You want to cook it for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. I threw in my kale, but underneath you can see that we have nice and caramelized onions that we cooked at a low temperature just so we could get nice and caramelized without burning it. With throwing in the kale, we just wanted it to wilt. So it's going to be in there for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, and the onions we cooked for about 8 to 10. We just pulled this off the stove. Kale's been in there for about 2 minutes now. You can see it's like nice, it's like wilted, but it's still got that like shape, so it's holding its own. So next thing we're going to add, take this out, next thing we're going to add is lemon zest. We're going to do it with the microplane. This way you're getting the oils of the lemon and not the pith, which is that white, bitter piece. Just put a little bit of lemon zest in there, about half of a lemon zest. So we have about our 5 ounces of goat cheese. I'm gonna put it into our bowl first, okay? And while this is still warm, we're just gonna pile all of this on top. And this is gonna melt the cheese just enough to incorporate all of this medley in there. I'm gonna mix it together, and then I'm gonna let it cool in the refrigerator, and then that way I can start working with it. I was taking this with a fork, but you could do this with anything. You even do it with your hands if you're gonna wear gloves. But I only do that if I'm working in a big batch. If I'm doing a small batch like this, I'm just gonna use a nice little fork. Just like that, and now it's ready to go in the refrigerator and cool down so it can become nice and solid again. All right, we got some filo dough. I've actually used this before. If I stored it properly, it should still be moist. There it is. So we're gonna take out 2 layers right now. 2 layers, put it on the side. I'll fold this back up. I'm gonna wrap it very tightly. Now I wanna fold a moist towel over it so it doesn't dry out. There you go, just like that. So bring 1 layer of filo dough over here. Now listen, this ripped, but it's not a problem. I'm gonna show you how you fix it even though it rips. I'm gonna baste this with oil. Okay, you can use butter, you can use margarine. I'm gonna use oil for this because I don't want this to be too heavy. I already have goat cheese in it, and I don't want it to have too heavy of a buttery feel to it. So we're gonna use oil. And it's gonna go across the whole thing. It's okay if you miss a couple spots, you're gonna put another layer on top. All right. There we go. Grab your other layer. Now you wanna work quickly with filo dough because it will dry out. You're just gonna try to line it up as perfectly as you can on top of the other, and that's it. Now, if you want a really thick layer of filo, you could do an extra layer. Right now, we're kind of done, but if you want, put a little bit more oil, and not as much as you did the first layer, okay? And this will make for an extra crispy, like, crust. It gives you that really a good bite. And here's a third layer if you choose to. So now, we've just taken this out of the refrigerator. We wanted to cool down because when the goat cheese is warm, it gets very gooey and hard to work with. But now it's nice and solid, so I could take about 2 tablespoons and place it over here. We're gonna make 6 little piles all the way across, evenly spaced. Next, you're gonna wanna cut these with a very sharp knife so it doesn't rip your filo dough. And we're gonna go right on the side of each one of these and draw a line down. Okay, we're gonna start with this corner, and I'm gonna try to pack in as much of the mixture I can. I just wanna make a little triangle. You see how it just looks like a triangle? Great. Now I'm gonna pick up this end and I'm gonna meet it up this way. And listen, it's okay if this rips, because you're making so many layers, it'll cover the rips. Now, I know you guys can barely see it, but over here, this is empty and this is full of the mixture. So I'm gonna try to pat it down because I want this to resemble a triangle, which I just did. The triangle hasn't really formed yet, but now I'm gonna push this over here and then I'm gonna lift up, and all I'm doing is pretty much just trying to meet the corners of the triangle. So I'm gonna come back over here, I'm gonna go back this way, okay? And then I'm gonna come like this. And this last flap, we want it to be on the bottom, and boom, just like that, you have a triangle. I'm gonna do one more demonstration for you guys so you can see. Bring this corner up, make sure you pat down all of your mixture. Bring this corner up, all right? Bring this side over. Bring this side up. Bring the side over, up, over, and it's okay. And then you have the bottom flap just like that laying down. So when you bake it, it doesn't open. Now that you've made these, you can make a huge batch of these and freeze them. They'll last you up to like 2 months in the freezer. And whenever you need them, you can just pop them on a tray and they go in the oven at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes or until these guys get golden. And a good way to stack these, when you have too many, you could stack them like this, triangle on top of triangle, and you can save yourself a lot of space. Now these guys are ready to come on out. So I just brought them out of the oven. They've been in there for about 20 minutes. And dude, they're beautiful golden on both sides, as you can see. And they stay together. This is like that open flap. But because I put it this side down when I baked it, it didn't come open. So these are beautiful and ready to go. The cheese stayed inside and it's nice and crispy. Delicious stuff. So guys, listen, you guys want some more interesting videos like this? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and all your chef needs, come visit us at TigerChef.com. See you guys soon.